It's 2025. Field of Dreams requires a suspension of disbelief. No person today would willfully tear down their crops to build a baseball field because a voice told them to do that. If it's unthinkable now, it must have been absurd in 1989. Today, it's more like, how can I make money off of this? That thought doesn't cross the characters' minds until the last part of the film, where James Earl Jones's character, Terrence Mann, explains what this baseball field in the middle of a cornfield in Iowa could mean to people. Usually, when people build stadiums, arenas, etc., they do it to attract a team, or they have a team contractually obligated to play there. It's typically a franchise owner with private funding and or a mix of public taxpayer money. Imagine willfully taking less money to fulfill the voice in your head. It's ridiculous because we hear it as the voice. Instead of being thrown into a situation that a protagonist is trying to resolve, Ray chooses to undergo a journey to avoid becoming like his old man. The film starts off with typical Kevin Costner monotone narration where he gives some background to the 1919 Chicago White Sox scandal, his father, and how he went to Cal and lived the 60s. These are the boomers that were trying to become successful going into their 30s and 40s. They were once young and optimistic during the 60s, and they weren't going to become like their parents. They weren't going to sell out, but everyone eventually sells out. They didn't want to be so upfront about it. Building a baseball field in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, doesn't seem to be a hippie thing to do, but it's an idealistic move with no pragmatism whatsoever. It's rebellious and going against what a normal adult would do with a wife, daughter, and a mortgage. Ray's journey leads him to a few characters such as Terrence Mann, who is a J.D. Salinger-like author who wrote books that were quintessential to the counterculture. Contrary to what he writes about, he loves a key part of Americana, baseball. He is skeptical at first as to why Ray wants to visit him. He initially believes that Ray is some fanatic who loved his books. He wants nothing to do with his previous works. He disappeared from the limelight. The idealism of the 1960s died with JFK, RFK, MLK, Malcolm X, and others. He starts to believe it because he hears the voice say to go the distance and sees the scoreboard for Archie Moonlight Graham. This portion of the film made me realize that modern day baseball and life are full of sellouts. Seriously, what are Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto going to do with $700 million? There's no hard salary cap in MLB, so that's the result. Anyway, Archie decided to become a doctor rather than pursue his dream of becoming a professional baseball player. He played one game and had 0 at-bats in the major leagues for the then New York Giants. He said that he didn't want to do another season in the minors. He chose to pursue a noble profession, and within the confines of this fictional setting, he has impacted the world more directly than a high-paid professional baseball player. He has made the lives of many better and probably saved a few throughout his life. We need more doctors and teachers. We just need more people in general who are willing to stand up for what's right. The only way a professional baseball player could be a positive good to society is if they donate their money to those who are in need or give their time to those who need support. Yeah, I guess they inspire the youth to become professional baseball players, but there are only a handful of players that become professionals. Not everyone gets to fulfill their dreams, but dreams and goals can change over time. Maybe you're going for a promotion. Maybe you're going for a marathon. All I hope for is you're looking for something that'll make you happy. Belief in the impossible appears to lead to greater things. If you build it, he will come. Ray thought it meant bringing shoeless Joe Jackson back to play again. After being disgraced by the 1919 World Series Chicago Black Sox scandal, but he kept hearing different messages from the voice. Ultimately, it meant getting to play catch with his father. Baseball is depicted as a pure sport where dreams come true. This film was made before the 1994 players lockout and steroids cheating allegations and investigations. It was released in 1989. Baseball's image tarnished as we couldn't tell who the real real heroes were from the false idols. More recently, there have been rule changes to make the game move faster, a pitch clock, and restricting the shifts on defense. The emphasis on fathers and sons is apparent. Baseball is a game where parents and kids play catch. The film ends with Ray playing catch with a younger ghost of his dad. That's all Ray wanted. His dad lived a lifetime before Ray came along in 1952, as his dad was born in 1896. He fought in World War I. He played minor league baseball and lived through the Great Depression. The only connection he wanted was to have his son share one love he had, which was baseball. His son rejected it in the 1960s with all that counterculture riffraff. Baseball could be seen as part of the establishment. Refusing to play after reading Terrence Mann's books was just another step towards rejecting an essential aspect of Americana. Saying that his dad's hero, Shoeless Joe Jackson, was a cheater was another blow. Not reconciling or apologizing for the brazenness and brashness of his youth was another disrespectful move. Ray is selfish. He has his own agenda, just like anyone else. He built the field at the risk of financial ruin to avoid becoming complacent like his father. Ultimately, it allowed him to communicate with his father one last time, and he appears to Ray as a young man. Ray only knew him as an older man, not in his prime. Ray isn't a competent protagonist, but he's a realistic character with flaws. Anyways, Field of Dreams is a product of its time. It's a slow-moving film about building something to reconnect with your family. It's optimistic in building back burned bridges with your parents, albeit his father had passed, and either he's easing the pain of his deceased father or he's easing his own pain of rebelling against his father and never reconciling with him before his death. To me, it's more of the latter because his father is gone, unless y'all believe in spirits, which is okay too. I think everyone once in their life goes through some form of a falling out with their parents. It could be major or it could be minor. Sometimes we blame our parents for who we have become or why we don't talk to them anymore or they don't talk to us. In the end, they've raised and brought us into the world. Right or wrong, we can either forgive and reconcile or tread lightly or block and move on. That's up to you. I don't know if it's radical to say that the kids don't owe the parents anything, but you should treat your kids with unconditional love no matter what. As always, you reap what you sow.